There we go. Now I'm recording. So if you don't want to be on camera, feel free to close your camera. That's totally fine. I usually minimize the windows that have your faces on them anyway, so you probably wouldn't be seen anyway, but if you're uncomfortable, totally fine. I don't need to see your face for this session. Everybody's muted just to cut down on background noise. I will do my best to cover everything in a timely manner. I'll try to get you out of here in a little bit less than an hour and still leave time for questions at the end. And at that point, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. When I'm screen sharing, it's hard for me to see the chat box, so I apologize if you ask a question and I don't get to it right away. I'll try to stop periodically and check in. We may or may not have some Google Slides and CamTwist teachers here in the chat box. I'm not 100% sure. But if we do, I think I might be the only CamTwist green screener at the moment, so I'm kind of your only resource anyway. And again, I will answer as many questions as I can. So this is me before we start. I live in Connecticut with my husband and my 4 kids. We used to own a My Gym Children's Fitness Center franchise. We owned it for 9 years, and it was both wonderful and terrible. I loved being a business owner, and I hated being a manager. And it was a difficult thing. It did very well for us, and we were able to raise our family there. I was able to work through 4 pregnancies and so forth, and it was a wonderful place and a wonderful company. But after 9 years, we were kind of done. My husband decided to go back to work. I am home with the kids, and I teach VIPKid on the side. I have been with VIPKid since January of 2018, and I am not a mentor. This training is not affiliated with VIPKid. This is just me sharing my knowledge with you. I am an admin in the Google Slides group. I am an admin in the CamTwist support group. And everything that I have learned on CamTwist, I am self-taught. So I have not, this isn't a program I learned in school or have any kind of degree in or anything at all. It's just something that I have learned by watching other teachers' YouTube videos and kind of playing around with it myself and figuring it out. So, so I'm not really an expert, but I have plenty of experience. So before we begin, I hope that you all have done your homework. I wanted to make sure that everyone had their CamTwist windows set up as if you were using CamTwist without green screen, without Chromakey. And if you have not yet, I will put the link at the end of the training. I will put the link to the video that you should follow in order to get those set up. It's called My Updated CamTwist and Google Slides Tutorial. But you should all be familiar with that so that you can follow along with me tonight. Okay, so today, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to set up a Chromakey background like the one that I have behind me. Now this one is a Google slide that I created myself. I put these little banners and the VIPKid logo and Dino and so forth. I'm going to show you first how to do it just using images that you find online. And then later on, I'll show you how to do it this way with Google Slides behind you. I will show you how to create the setups that you need in order to use the keyboard shortcuts or the hotkeys that is going to make your switching between your rewards and your props and your regular teaching background very simple for you. So we're going to create 3 setups, and then I will show you how to use CamTwist Studio and how to use the hotkeys. And then I will show you how to set up your green screen background library or really any Google slide that you want as your background. Jackie Robinson and Jackie Robinson is a moderator in the Google Slides group, but she is a Manicam user. So we kind of joined forces and created this green screen background library that has over 150 backgrounds that are themed to the units of the lessons. So, so you could have a lesson themed background behind you, which I like to do. And I actually don't really like to repeat backgrounds. I don't like to repeat rewards with my regulars, and I don't like to repeat backgrounds. I like to always have something new for my students. So having a Google slide set is awesome for that because I can just scroll through and find the next one that I want to use. And like I said, I have a YouTube playlist of everything that we're going to learn tonight. So if I go too fast or if you want to rewind or whatever, you can always check out my channel, and I'll give you the link for that. Okay, so lighting is crucial for Chromakey in order for Chromakey to work. What you're seeing here is my actual desk setup. I wish that I could give you an Amazon link to exactly how to make this, but my husband created it himself. He works with 3D printers, and he made these brackets and things himself. So I can't tell you where to find them because they don't exist anywhere except in my classroom. But this is my lighting. So it's obviously very, very bright here. The lighting is very important because you need your green behind you to be a uniform color. So if your lighting is poor and you have dark shadows on this side, but over here is lit up, then your Chromakey is going to be off because it's going to see the correct color on one side and then a little bit of a different shade on the other side where the shadow is, and it's just not going to work. So you want to do your best to have lighting from above if possible, and also if it's possible for you to light up your background, like put a lamp on the floor that's shining, or on, you know, off to the side of you that's shining on your background. That's going to give you the best results for your green screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our Chromakey background using just downloaded images that we've found on Google Image Search or wherever you want to find your stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and open my CamTwist main window here. And I'm going to clear out all of these effects, and my beautiful background and all of my fun stuff is going to go bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to start over here in step 1, and we're going to click on webcam, but don't double click on it. We don't want the webcam to show up yet. We actually want to create a picture-in-picture. So I'm going to highlight webcam, and then I'm going to go down here to the picture-in-picture button, and I'm going to click it. And then I'm going to go over in the settings box over on this side to webcam settings. And I'm going to choose my webcam from the drop-down box. I want it to use my FaceTime camera. Okay, so the black area that's behind me right now is where my background is going to go eventually, but it's not there yet. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to go back to this PIP webcam. I'm going to click on the PIP settings here, and I'm going to grow myself. I'm going to use this scale slider to make myself fill the video feed. Okay, and now I'm going to rename this. Just double click on it, and I like to call it me because that's what it is. It's me on the webcam. So I'm just going to call it me so that I know what it is. It's not just like webcam pip, it's me. And now I need to choose the image that I'm going to use as my background. Now, you can use absolutely any image that you want at all. I am just going to open my download folder here because I have a couple images that I downloaded. So let's say that we want to use this mountain range. So let's say you're teaching landforms in level 4 and you want to have a mountain range behind you. So what you're going to do is over on the CamTwist window, you're going to scroll down in step 2 and you're going to double click. So you want to actually activate it, image overlay. And then you're going to take the image that you want, and you can save these to your desktop or wherever is handy for you. I just happen to have them in my downloads folder. And you're going to just click on the image that you want and drag it up to this box right here over in the settings section, and it's going to pop up over your face. Now, we're going to scale it so that it's going to be as big as the window itself. And if you want to zoom in on a part of it or whatever you want to do, that's totally fine. You can also move this around. So if you like this particular portion of the mountain range, you can have that too. Whatever you want to do is totally fine. But you do want it to cover your entire background area. So I can see up there, I've got a little bit of green showing. I don't want that. So I'm going to just make it fill the whole screen. Okay. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to rename it to a background because that's what it is. And then in order to make it go behind me, all I have to do is change the order in step 3. So I'm going to take this background and I'm just going to drop it behind the webcam pip. So technically the background is still there. It's just behind me right now. Okay. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to throw in my lighting effects. So I'm going to use Gamma Adjust. And I'm just going to use this little slider to brighten up my picture a little bit, just because I think that looks better. And I'm also going to use Sharpen, which is here. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, so you want your background to be at the top, and you want your webcam pip to be right underneath it. Now, in order to make this background, this green behind me, dissolve so that you can see the picture that's behind me, all you have to do is click on the webcam pip, and down here, you're going to click the Chromakey box over here in the pip settings. So there's a little checkbox here. You're just going to click it, and then you get to make the magic happen. So underneath where you just checked Chromakey, there is a little bar that says Chromakey, and you're going to click on it so that the outline of it turns gray. So if you click off of this anywhere else on the screen, if you close this, see how it's not gray anymore? Now, if you're trying to mess with it when it's not gray, it's not going to make any changes to your screen. So just make sure that it is outlined in gray when you're using it. You want to use the color wheel. So if it comes up on like one of these other ones, you just want to click over here so that you are on the color wheel. And now you're going to take this little eyedropper. So at the very bottom of this color wheel, there's a little eyedropper here, and you're going to click on that. It's going to bring up this magnified circle, and you're going to take that circle and you're just going to drag it over on top of your CamTwist preview on a green spot. So just a part of your background. And then once you click, oh, that's pretty good, actually. It's going to, what you're telling CamTwist right now is wherever you see the color green, I want you to instead show what's behind me. So it's not perfect, but it looks pretty good up at the top. My angle of my camera is not perfect right now. And then from here, you're just going to adjust. So you can drag this thing in and out. Now, if you go too far, obviously, you know, weird things are going to happen with your eyes and your hair and stuff. So you don't want to go too far, but you want to make it so that, and you can move this around too. You can change the like the shade of green. I've got like a weird cutout in my hair there that I don't really like. So you can play with this as much as you want. I'm not going to go too far and try to make it super perfect right now. I always have a problem with this corner over here because it's shadowy from my lighting. But that's close enough for me right now. I'm not going to go too far into it. Now, once you get it perfect, and like I have on my other setup, I have it perfect, you can then click on this little square down here. I'm not going to click it right now because I already have some saved and I don't want to mess with them. But if you click on the square, it's going to save your, like the exact green that you have here on your screen. And so that if things ever get messed up, you can just click on your Chromakey over here, make sure that it's gray, the bar is outlined in gray, and then you can just come and click that button and everything should just pop right into place and it should be perfect. The other thing that's cool is if you go over to these little slidey bars at the top instead of the color wheel, it actually gives you the hex color number of whatever your background is set at right now. So you can write those down somewhere, and if you really need to, you can just put in the number if things are not working the way that you want them to. So now that your background is all set, you can go ahead and add some extra things to your screen here. And I've got a question in the chat box. Hold on a second. Let me just open it up here. Buying a green background. Okay, good question. I did kind of gloss over that, didn't I? My background is nothing special. It is literally just, it's just fabric that I got on Amazon, and it's kind of like the fabric that they make reusable grocery bags out of. It was like $10. It was way too big. I had to cut it down to fit my space here. But it really doesn't have to be anything special. I know that there are teachers that use like the roll out tablecloth, a green plastic tablecloth that just comes on a roll, and they just put that behind them. Other teachers have used this green poster board that they've just put up behind them. So it really doesn't matter. And the color doesn't even really matter that much. It doesn't have to be like a Kelly green or a Hunter green or anything special because you're going to be using this to adjust it. It could be purple behind you as long as you're not wearing purple or you don't have purple eyes or anything. The reason that we use green is because it's a color that doesn't show up in people's skin very often. If your background was red, if you had rosy cheeks, or your lips would just disappear off the screen. So that's why we use green. But you can really use anything as long as it's flat. That's really all that matters. You don't want to have any like ripples or anything like that. Okay. So now we're going to add, I'm going to close this out. It will remember your color unless you adjust it again. So don't worry about closing that little color window. That's fine to close. So now what we're going to do is, so this is how I would like my screen to look when I'm teaching, but because I'm using Google Slides, I do like to have my reward visible on the screen at all times. So really simple way to do this is if you did your homework and you watched my, my CamTwist tutorial, then you should have a setup on your CamTwist main window that's called Daily. So what we're going to do here is we're going to leave everything that we just put up there, the background, the picture-in-picture with me on it, and your lighting effects. And we're going to highlight the daily setup here. And we're going to go down to the bottom here, and we're going to hit merge. Okay, so what that's going to do is take the setup that we already have and the daily set and just stick them together. Okay, now when I do this, it's going to mess up my screen a little bit because I already have gamma adjust and sharpen in that daily set, and then I also have it in this set that I just created. So I've got like double gamma going on, and it's like way too bright. But really all you want out of that daily setup is the reward pip. So you can just go through here and just X out of everything that's not a reward. So just close everything except that reward. And now my picture is back to normal. And because I have my blank reward slide showing down here in the bottom right-hand corner, when I click this on, ta-da, there's my reward. So that's just a really easy way to get your reward pip on your screen. Now, I like to have my name on screen. You certainly don't have to do this, but because I'm me, I will show you how. So over here in step 2, you're just going to scroll down until you see text and double click it. And it's automatically going to put hello world up there, but you can change this to say whatever you want. I'm just going to do my name. And now it won't change on the screen until you hit enter in this little text box here. So as soon as you hit enter, it will change. You can change the font. You can, whoops, that must be a font that I don't have on my computer. Let's see. You can change the font. You can change the color. You can change, you know, whatever you want on here. And then you can just use this little black dot to drag it wherever you want it to be. Ta-da! Okay, cool. So now that I have my screen looking the way that I want it to, this is what I consider to be my like normal teaching background. I'm not giving a reward. I'm not showing a prop. This is just like my normal teaching. So I'm going to save this setup, and I'm going to make sure that you don't have any checkboxes checked when you're saving setups in CamTwist. You want to make sure that those are blank. And you can change this to whatever you want. I'm just going to call it green screen background for now, just because I have other setups and I don't want to confuse them. So this is my green screen background. So I'm going to save this. Okay, cool. So now that you're set up, if you have been using CamTwist in the past, I guess I should probably stop. Does anybody have questions about how we just created that Chromakey background? Are we good? Okay, let me know if you do, okay? And also, by the way, when you save this setup right now, it's going to save it with the mountain range behind me because that was the picture that I had there when I saved it. That doesn't mean that you're stuck with this picture. You can change it anytime you want. Just go up to your background in your step 3 box here and just swap out a different picture. So if it's my student's birthday and I want to have balloons behind me, I can just drag it, drop it, and change it out to balloons. Let's say I'm teaching weather and I want to do lightning. You can just drag and drop. Really easy. It's really simple to change your background. Okay, so now that that is set up and no one has questions, awesome. Everyone's with me still, this is good. So now if you've used CamTwist in the past, then you're probably familiar with how we like to swap the reward with the webcam when you are giving a reward. So your reward is kind of tiny in the corner over here, like I've got Chef Dino down here. And then you want to be able to make it big so that your student can see it when you give it to them. Now, normally when we do that, we click on the reward and then we go down here and we try to hit this swap with video source button. Now, because of the way things are set up and because my webcam right now is actually a picture-in-picture, even though it's not small, the button doesn't work. So don't worry about why, it just doesn't work. So we need to do some different things in order to make that swap possible. And how we're going to do that is by using CamTwist Studio. Now, CamTwist Studio is a feature that's built right into CamTwist, and it's a little bit tricky to set up, but once it's set up, you can function it completely with hotkeys, and then you don't have to worry about CamTwist Studio at all. So I'm just going to give you like a little overview of how CamTwist Studio works, and then we don't really have to worry about it anymore once we set up the hotkeys. So I'm going to, the first thing that we need to do is create those 3 setups. So let me go back here and make sure that I'm following my own directions here. So we set up the Chromakey backgrounds, and now we need to create those 3 setups. So we've already created this one, the normal one that has your name, if you want your name, your Google Slides down here, and then your Chromakey background behind you. So now what we're gonna do is create one where it has the reward big and use small, okay? So first thing you're gonna do is make sure that you have your blank rewards showing, because you want that to be the one that is saved with your setup so that you can reference it every time you open CamTwist. So I'm going to get rid of this for now. And I'm actually gonna clear out these effects because I've already saved this background, saved this setup, so I know that I can access it again. So I'm gonna clear out these effects, everything, and I'm going to open that daily setup. Okay, so my daily setup has my, my rewards, it has my lessons, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to take the rewards that I have here, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to swap it. Okay, so I'm gonna hit that button. Because there's no chroma key going on anymore and there's just screen behind me, and this is just my regular CamTwist setup as if I wasn't doing any green screen at all, I can hit this button and it will work right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that, and now we are swapped, okay? So now what I'm gonna do from here is making sure that I am on this reward pip that's highlighted here, I'm gonna go and click the chroma key button, okay? So when I click that, and then I click on this chroma key, and then I go down to what I know to be my perfect setting down here, this color, it takes the green away from behind me. Now I love this because this means that when I have a reward up like this, I'm not in the way. If I'm doing a find a star, it's not like I'm in front of the number 6, you know? And if I am, I can just kind of move out of the way a little bit, my student can see. So I love being this like little pop-up on the screen here. I think that this is awesome. I'm gonna change it back to my blank so that I make sure I'm saving this correctly. Can you swap one more time? Kimberly, do you mean you want to just see that happen again? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean, can I swap it back? Okay, just one more time. Okay, no problem. So, boop. That's all you have to do. So, so you just open the daily set, highlight the rewards up here, and then down at the bottom on your pip settings, if you're on Desktop Plus settings, you won't see the button, but on your pip settings, you just go down here and then you just hit that button and it will swap for you, okay? So then you wanna click the chroma key and then make sure that you choose the correct green, okay? And then you are going to, whoops, hold on. Good, okay, she's got it. Then you're gonna save this setup, okay? And I'm gonna actually get rid of the extra stuff because I don't need these extra things. I'm gonna leave the gamma adjust and sharpen because whatever. But I'm gonna save this setup. And I call this setup, I'm gonna uncheck this. I call it give reward. I'm actually gonna call it give reward 2 right now because I already have a give reward and I don't wanna mess up my own settings. So I'm giving the reward, so that's what I call this setup. So I'm gonna save that. Okay, so now we've got 2 setups, right? We've got, what did I call that one? We've got the regular teaching background that has the chroma key, the Google Slides, and the text. And now we've got the give reward screen where the reward is big and I'm small in the corner. All right, so we're gonna do one more setup. We're gonna create the exact same setup that we just did, but for the lesson props. So I'm gonna clear this out again. I'm gonna open the daily set. I'm gonna do the exact same thing, but with the props instead of the rewards. So I'm gonna take these lessons, and okay, so this one's a little different because when I do CamTwist without chroma key, I like the lessons to come up over my face. So they're really big right now, but when I do it with chroma key, I like it to look exactly like it does with the rewards. So I'm actually gonna scale this down to about 0.6 because this is how big I'm gonna be If you think, if once we're swapped, like this is me on the screen. So I'm going to go about 0.6, and I'm going to put it down in the same spot. If you want to be on the other side when you're giving a prop instead of a reward, totally put it over here. That's totally fine. And then I'm just going to go ahead and swap it again. So I'm going to swap so that the lessons are big and I'm in the corner. And then very same thing, I'm just going to hit the Chromakey button. I'm going to click on the bar, the Chromakey bar, and I'm going to choose my green. And that's it. I'm ready to go. So I'm going to close this out. I'm going to get rid of the extra stuff that's in that setup, and I'm going to save the setup. And I just call this one props. And right now I'm going to call it props 2. Okay, so we've got our 3 setups. We've got regular teaching or normal teaching or whatever you want to call it. We've got give reward, and we've got props. Okay, so now that that is all set up, let me go back here. Now, how do we switch between those while you're in the classroom? Well, this is where CamTwist Studio comes into play. I've got my notes here. I need to turn over my notes. Okay, so let me open CamTwist Studio. So we're actually not going to use this main window anymore. So I'm just going to minimize it because we don't need it. Up at the top gray bar of your Mac at the very top of your screen, you're going to click on View, and you're going to click on the Studio. You can also bring it up by just hitting Command S. And I'm going to get rid of this preview because we don't need that anymore. Now, when you bring your window up, it's going to look more like this. But I leave mine up in the corner because I don't really need it very much. So this is CamTwist Studio. Now, what you're used to seeing on the screen is your little CamTwist preview. And as you saw before, it will show you everything that is going to be live in the classroom. Now, in the studio, you can load up a preview over here that's like ready to go, and then you can hit a button and make it go live in the classroom. Okay, so what you're seeing over here on the red side, the program side, is what is live in the classroom. And then this side over here is like what's loaded up, what's gonna happen next, okay? So these little buttons down here, these little squares, they correspond to the setups that you have saved down here. So each setup has a button, okay? So if I wanted to use, where's the one that I just made? Green screen background. Okay, so the one that's live in the classroom right now is my regular teaching background that I started the tutorial with. And now I have loaded up over there my one that I just created with the mountain range behind me. Okay, now if I want to make the mountain range go live in the classroom, I would have to hit one of these buttons over here. So I can do a cut, where it will just swap it right over, or I can do a dissolve where it kind of like fades in and out, or I can use one of these effects, and I happen to like the ripple effect. This is the one that I use in my classrooms all the time. Now the time down here, I leave it at 0.5. That's just how long it takes that ripple to happen. So if you make it really long, the ripple is going to go really, really slow, and it's going to take a long time for you to change over to your next setup. So I leave it at 0.5. I think that that's kind of perfect. It's just long enough for the kid to see it, and then it just kind of goes away. Now, if you have watched Megan Locke's video on CamTwist hotkeys, she has this swap mode box right here checked. I prefer to leave it unchecked. And the reason for that, you don't really have to worry about, but just trust me that you probably don't want it checked. So you can leave that unchecked for now. And if you prefer one of these other ones, like there's a whole bunch of these effects here. You can use a flash effect. You can use a dip effect. You can use a swipe effect, so it goes from side to side. So I just happen to like the ripple. That's the one that I use, but you can pick whichever one you want. So what we're going to do here is I could put the reward over there. I'm still teaching. This is still the only thing that children are seeing in the classroom, but I'm ready to give the reward so that when I hit effect, then it ripples over, and now you can see the reward behind me. And I would put, Chef Dino up there. And then I would click on this one to get it ready. Again, they can still only see Chef Dino. This preview over here is only visible to you. They will not see this part in the classroom. And then I can hit effect, and then it goes back to my regular teaching background. Okay, cool. awesome. We know how this works, but it's annoying to have this big thing on your screen and have to click all these buttons and make sure you're hitting the right one. So that's where the hotkeys come in. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to actually take this. When I teach, my CamTwist Studio is literally this big on my screen. So I actually have my my classroom goes right here. I've got my lessons over here, my rewards over here. This is my green screen background library that I'm going to show you in a minute. And then the only reason that I keep the CamTwist Studio open up here is because in order to use the hotkeys, you have to click on CamTwist before you hit your hotkeys. Otherwise, it won't work. If you go down and you click on your reward for a second and then you try to use the hotkey from there, it's not going to recognize it because it doesn't. You're not in CamTwist when you're using those, so you need to let CamTwist know, okay, by clicking on it, okay, now it's gonna listen to your hotkeys. So let's create the hotkeys. So up again at the top of your Mac, in the gray bar there, oh, hold on, I got a question here. Can you click? Yes, you can. You can click CamTwist in the dock. You just have to click on something CamTwist. If you want to, instead of having the CamTwist Studio open, if you want to just have your preview window open, that's totally fine too. You just have to click on something CamTwist before you hit the hotkeys. Good question. So up at the top, you're going to click on User, and you're going to click Edit this menu. Okay, we're going to create 3 hotkeys. Okay, actually, no, we're going to create 4 hotkeys. Sorry. The first one is going to be for the transition. So what effect is it going to have when you move from the preview side over there over to the program, which is live in the classroom? So I've already created this one. Mine is Control R because it's Ripple. So I just call it R because it's easy for me to remember. You can call it Control 1. You can call it Control semicolon, whatever you want. It could be whatever you want, but I just like to make them intuitive to myself. So you're going to hit the plus button down here at the bottom. You're going to select Studio Transition, and then just pick the effect that you want to use. So I picked Ripple, and then once you hit that, I'm going to do a different one right now. I'm just going to do Flash, and then you have to click this button to record your shortcut, and you will need 2 keys. Okay, so I'm going to do Control F for the flash effect. And you want to give it exclusive access. So you're going to hit that checkbox there. Okay, so that's the only one that you're going to set up as a studio transition, but the rest of them you're going to set up as studio preview. Okay, so you're going to go to, make sure that you hit the plus button again, because if you just go up here, it's going to change the one that you have assigned to whatever's highlighted right now. So make sure that you hit the plus button. And you're going to select Studio Transition. No, I'm sorry, Studio Preview this time. And then you're going to choose one of your setups. So let's say that I'm going to use, what did I call that one? GS background. So I'm going to click on this. Come on, there we go. And then I'm going to record the background as Control G for green screen or whatever. And actually, that's funny because I already have it. I have my G set as my give reward. So that's not a good one. Let's try that again. Let's do Studio Preview, GS background, and let's call this, I don't know, Control C for Chromakey. I don't know, whatever. I just don't want to mess with the ones that I already have there. So Control C. So now it's saved. So when I hit Control C, whoops, I need to give it exclusive access. And I'm already on CamTwist. So if I hit Control C, it's going to, oops, it's already there. So that's not going to work right now. Let me finish doing these and then I'll show you how they work. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's do Studio Preview, and let's do props too. All right, I already have a Control P because I already have mine for props. So this one I'm going to do Control L for lessons. Okay, and exclusive access, and there it is. Saved. Whoops. For some reason, it didn't save my props too. There it goes, Control L. Okay, cool. So now if I'm on CamTwist and I hit Control L, it's going to do my lessons up there. But that's what's loaded up. So over here where I am on the mountain range, that's what they're seeing in the classroom. So in order to move it over, I have to hit Control F for flash, and then it's over there. Okay, so every time that you are switching between your setups, you're gonna need to hit 2 hotkeys. So what did I call this one? Control C and then Control F to flash it over. So you'll need 2 hotkeys every time. So you'll need the one for your setup and then the one for your transition. Okay, but like I said, once these are set up, you really like, this is just kind of over in the corner and you don't really have to think about it other than clicking on it before you hit the hotkey. So you would do this for all of your setups. So we have one for the background, we have one for props, so we would need one for rewards, and then you've already done the one for the transition. So I'm not gonna worry about setting them all up right now. You want them all to be the same. I'm just gonna get rid of these ones that I don't need here. So I'm not keeping ones. I don't need that one, and I don't need that one. Okay, cool. So, so my hotkeys that I have already set up, I'm gonna make this big just so you guys can see what I'm doing here. My hotkeys that I have already set up, I use Control B for background and then Control R for ripple. So every time I'm switching between them in the classroom, I'm gonna hit Control whatever, Control P, and then Control R to ripple it over, Control G to give the reward, which is not showing because it's, I didn't have my blank up yet, and Control R to ripple it over. Okay, now before, let me just go back so you can see me again. Before you start teaching for the day, you want to make sure that you have your blank slides showing for your props and your rewards, and you want to cycle through all of those hotkeys, because as you just saw where my reward came up black, the only reason that happened is because I had not yet opened that hotkey with the blank reward showing. So you want to make sure your blanks are showing and that you just cycle through all of your hotkeys. So I do my regular one with the transition, my reward with the transition, and my props with the transition before I start teaching for the day. You just have to do it one time, and then you're good for your whole shift. Okay, so that was a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Did I miss any questions? I hope I didn't miss any. Let me see. No, I didn't. Okay, cool. Is everyone still with me? I can't see your faces, so I'm just going to just going to assume everyone's okay. Kimberly, I do it once a month, but like I said, the videos are on YouTube, so you can slow them down, you can rewind, you can stop, you can whatever you need to do. Okay, so literally everything that I'm telling you right now, I have made a video tutorial of. All right, yes, awesome, try it out. It's so much fun. I will tell you, I learned how to do this, and I went live the next morning. Like I did it the night before, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it, and I just went for it in the classroom. I didn't do anything fancy. I literally had a classroom background behind me, like a cartoon classroom, and that's all I did for the whole day, other than using my rewards and stuff. But I was just so excited that I figured out how to work it. How do you delete a setup in either category? Oh, okay. So on your main window here, if you want to completely delete and get rid of a setup, like I go in and delete these extra props 2 ones that I make during the tutorials, just highlight it, and then down here there's a little minus button, and you just click that and it'll get rid of that setup for you. And if you want to get rid of a hotkey, same thing, you just click here and then you just hit the minus button, highlight what you want, and then hit the minus button and it'll get rid of it for you. Okay, are we good? Because we're almost done. I just want to show you how to use Google Slides behind you, because that's kind of a game changer for me. Let me go back to my, my thing here and make sure. Okay, creating and using hotkeys. We did that. I showed you how to switch between rewards, props, and regular teaching screen. Okay, so here we are, setting up your green screen background library so that you can have Google Slides as your background. So this is game changing for me because you can actually change your background during class, which is a really cool thing. So let me see this. I'm going to show you really quickly here. I was teaching the unit in level 1 on in Peru when we do drum and flute. So I started off the class like this with the drum behind me, boom, 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 and we were doing drums and whatever. And then as soon as we got to the word flute, I changed it to a flute. And my student was like, what? How'd you do that? Right? So you can do this. You can change out your background literally like at the touch of a button. Now, like I showed you before on the main window of CamTwist, it's not difficult to change your background. Did I close my main window? I think I did. It's not difficult to change your background. You can just go up to your, I'm in a different setup right now, but on your, this one here, you can just click on the background and just drop another picture in there. It's not hard to do. But I like this because I can literally just like on the fly, just open this up and scroll through and find what I want. And what I really like about it is that I know that slides 62, where are they? Here, I've got fireworks and I don't have the right setup right now. There we go. So I use this at the end of a UA. So as soon as I'm done, or yay, you win, and the fireworks are going off, and the kids are like, wow, this is so cool. So you can have GIFs on here because it's Google Slides. You can have things, you know, whatever's showing up on your Google Slides can show up behind you. It's pretty awesome. If you really wanted to, you could switch out every time you give a star. I did that in class for a couple days. It got a little hard at the end because I had to scroll back down and find the background that I had been using previously. But you can also make a copy of any of these slides and like I have, this is my background that I use for reward roundup. So I have it in a separate window. So if you really want to have stars and then your regular background, you could put stars here, background here, and then you could just swap back and forth between them. So it's really, really cool. Can we use background? Yes, absolutely. You can totally use it. I'm going to put the link in the chat box at the end. It is also in the CamTwist support group somewhere. It's like floating around there. I've posted it a couple of times, but I will give you the link. And yeah, because I want everybody to use this. I think it's awesome. I think it's great to have a collab on it. And you know, there's like so many fun things in here. I use this one for family. We've got toys. I mean, you can like, this one for the food unit. This is Mexico in level 1. There's just like, it's so cool. And you can also search this too. So you can just put in Command F and you can search for like birthday. Like I had a student whose birthday was coming up and I wanted to find a birthday background for him. So I pulled up the candles. I was like, make a wish. And I did it during class. So anyway, enough about how awesome it is. Let's see how to do it, right? So what you're going to do here is open a new Chrome window. So I've already got my lessons over here, my rewards over here, and I opened a third Chrome window. You can use whatever browser you want, doesn't matter. And once you have that open, you want to open the green screen library in it. And actually, I'm just going to give you the link right now. Just let me scroll back up to the top for you. Here we go. So this is the link to the, where's my chat box? Come on, there we go. So this is the green screen, oops, background library. There you go. Check it out. I'm gonna see all your names popping up on the screen right now, looking at it at the same time. So I'm not worried about creating a blank slide. Oh, I've got it behind me. I'm not worried about creating a blank slide for this particular window because this is the only file that I ever have open in this window. So it's not like rewards where I have 100 different ones open all the time, or lesson props where they correspond directly to my class. This is the only thing I ever have open here. So as long as you open this when you first open your CamTwist for the day, then you'll be all set. You won't have to worry about it referencing anything different. So now I'm going to open my give reward setup that I created over here. So my give reward 2 setup, and we're gonna just, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna essentially take this setup that we have, but we're gonna tell CamTwist, instead of talking to the reward window that's over here, we're gonna have it talk to the background window over here. Okay, so we're gonna go up to whoops, come on, rewards, okay, yeah, no, that's not it. Oh, right, it's desktop, right, because it's swapped. Okay, so you're gonna go up to the top of that setup here, so the one that says Desktop Plus, and you're going to change this drop down. Okay, so right now it says blank rewards. You want it to say green screen backgrounds. So we change that, and then it's gonna put this behind you. Now, if you've done the other setups in the past, you're gonna change this the same way that you changed the other ones before. So you're just going to select the capture area, and you're going to just select the area that is showing this slide itself. So I'm not going to put this into presenter view because I do like to be able to scroll down the side and find what I'm looking for quickly. Okay, so once that's there, then you hit done selecting. And now that's cool. I've got that behind me, but I need to be bigger. I need to be bigger. So I'm going to go up here to, I'm actually the reward right now because it's swapped. And I'm going to go to pip settings and I'm going to make myself very big and move me to the middle of the screen. There. Cool. Now, the picture looks terrible right now. And that happens because the way that these are listed right now, gamma, adjust, and sharpen, are being applied to the desktop, to the Google slide that's behind me, and not to me. So the way that I'm going to fix that is just, I'm going to take the little me pip, and I'm going to change this so that it's actually, it's me and not the reward, because that's really confusing. And you can change this to background. And I'm going to take me and I'm going to put me up above the gamma and sharpen, and then your picture will look much nicer. So that's it. That's all there is to it. The only thing that you have to do here is, now that this is going to become your regular teaching background, you're going to need that reward pip and you're going to need your name again. So just go ahead and create the reward pip. So we're going to go to Desktop Plus, Picture in Picture, Desktop Plus settings over here, confine to application window. And I know I'm going through this kind of quickly because we're almost out of time, but all these steps, if you've done them in the previous video, they're also in my tutorials. So, you know, feel free to take a look at those. But we are going to select the rewards, right? We want blank rewards. And we're going to select the capture area. And I need to move this window so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to have just this white part of the slide showing. Oh, come on. It's going off the screen and I can't see it. There we go. Okay, so just this part of the rewards showing. I'm going to done selecting, go back to the picture in picture settings, clear the background, scale it down, and put it in the corner. And I can't see it right now. Okay, all the way in the corner. Come on. There we go. Okay, so it's there. And then if you wanted to, you could go ahead and add your text to the screen too. So for consistency's sake, I like to have my text showing on every screen. I like to have it on the give reward screen and on the prop screen too, but it's totally up to you how you want to do that. Okay, so now that that is all set, you can save it. And I call this setup, I call mine background change out because that just makes sense to me. I'm going to call it background change out 2. Make sure that these are not checked. Hit save. And then the last thing that you have to do is create the hotkey for it. So you go up to user, edit this menu, hit the plus for a new button. You want this one to be a studio preview. So you're going to do studio preview and then select your background change out 2 or whatever you named it, and then make your shortcut for it. So I have Control B set up already for background change out, but I'm going to do Control O for background change out. I don't know, whatever you want to make your hotkeys is fine. Give it exclusive access, and then that's it. You're all set. So so from here, you would, if you wanted to give your reward, you would just bring up your giving reward hotkey, and then your hotkey for the transition, and it'll go over there. And then you can go back to your regular teaching background over here and transition it over. And then at any time that you want, you can scroll through these and find something. Oh, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Yay. And then you can go right back to Mexico or wherever, whatever background you've got teaching on there. Okay. So I think that was it. Let me double check, make sure that I got everything. Okay, bonus tips. But before we go to bonus tips, does anyone have questions? I know I just threw like a whole lot of information at you in 54 minutes. So is anyone like, oh my God, I have no idea what she's doing? Or are you like, okay, I think I might be able to try this out? Or how are we feeling? Let me know. How are we doing? Anyone gonna try it in the morning? It will be fun, Kimberly. It's totally fun. I love it. I love it. I love when I have one particular level 1 student who knows and she expects that I'm going to have a different background every time she comes to class, and she gets excited. Oh, piñata! She gets excited. Sure, rewatch my videos as many times as you want. That's why I'm here. All right, cool. I just want to make sure nobody's like, like this is totally nuts. I tried to kind of break it down and make it easy for you guys, but absolutely rewatch the videos. Really, once you have the setups created, it's really just getting used to using the hotkeys after that. Because once your setups are set up, as long as they are looking the way that mine look like in my video, then you should be good to go. It's just remembering which hotkeys to hit, remembering to click on CamTwist before you hit any hotkeys, and so forth. Okay, so let's talk about bonus tips. You can change out your background during class. Like I said, fireworks are perfect for the end of the UA. I had a kid who had a birthday recently, so I pulled up the birthday background. You can do whatever you want. I would suggest, if you're going to do the stars or the fireworks, I would suggest making a copy of those slides. So I have the green screen background here, and it's here all the time, but you can open another tab here, and whatever is showing up in that tab is going to be your background. So if you just open another Google slide set and you just paste those like 2 or 3 backgrounds that you want to use in here, it'll be easier for you to move back and forth between, let's say this one is the star and then this one's your regular teaching background. It'll be a lot easier than having to scroll back to the star here and then remember what number background you're on or whatever. What else? Oh, you can keep track of the backgrounds that you're using in the Google Slides Planner. So if you're not already a Google Slides Planner user, you should be. So let's get you on that train because it's amazing. So this is my planner here. And I save my backgrounds that I'm using for my classes over, I'm just moving this over because I have pictures of my students there I don't want you to see. On my lesson notes. So right here, I have my, I'm teaching a food lesson in the morning, so I have my background with my food, which is number 113. This one I don't have one for. Oh yeah, Pets That Help Us. I haven't found a good background for that unit yet. Animals at Night. I've got the clothing unit, so I have a closet background that I'm going to use. It's number 44. So I keep track of these on the, on the favorites tab of the planner, which is here. So I choose my lesson that I'm going to teach, and then over on this side right here where it has lesson notes, this is where I keep the backgrounds. So I know that next time I teach level 4, unit 8, lesson cycle 2-7, I know I'm going to use background 135, which is a tree hole where a squirrel lives. So that's how I keep track of my backgrounds. And I'm slowly building it up so that I'll basically have a background for every lesson that I teach. Like I said before, lighting is super important. So if you're having trouble getting the Chromakey to look the way that you want it to, it's probably your lighting. It probably doesn't have anything to do with the color of your backdrop or what kind of material it is or anything like that. It's probably how you are lighting yourself or lighting your background. So always play with your lighting first before you go changing your backdrop. And another tip that I actually didn't put on this bonus tip slide that I totally should put on here, my teaching background, my regular teaching background is still behind the material that is on the wall behind me. So if anything happens to go haywire, if CamTwist decides to just not show up in the classroom one day, or if Starmageddon happens again, or something crazy happens and CamTwist isn't working, I have it put, you can't see it right now, I have it put on the wall with just those little Velcro tabs. So if I really need to, I can literally just rip it down, and then my regular teaching background is behind me. So so I have a backup if I really, really need it. What else? Oh yeah, don't wear green and don't use green props. Do I still have Bob around here somewhere? No, I think my son stole him. Okay, so I have this little dinosaur head that is on a stick right here. Now you can see when I move him like this, you can't see the stick that's underneath him because the stick is green, right? In some ways that I turn it, it kind of disappears and goes into the background. I love this thing. I have used this, I had a different one, he was green, and I use this for all of my pre-VIP boys, and he talks to the camera and the kids think he's awesome. And good job, Joey. But he was green. And the first time that I tried to use him when I was doing Chromakey, all you could see was his teeth. It was a little weird. And the kids were like, what are you doing? Even now when I bring him out, if he's just a floating head, the kids were like, huh? I have to like turn it so that you can actually see the stick that he's on. But if you have any green flashcards or any green props at all, if it's roughly the same color as your background, it's literally going to disappear on your screen. I have some flashcards that have green, and you can see right through. It's showing the fruit that's behind them. They have green letters. So sometimes when I hold these up, this isn't a big deal. You can still see that it's a Q. But if you have like a green cup or something, it will just literally not show up on your screen. So be aware of that. Don't wear any green clothing. And another really important tip, this is, I figured this out after I had already made these slides, but the color clothing that you wear is going to affect your chroma key as well. I was noticing that I would go to set up everything the night before, and I'd have my lighting perfect, and I'd get my screen so that it looked like this, and everything was looking great. And then I would be like, great, and I would go to bed, and I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd put on my orange hoodie that I always teach in, and my chroma key would be off, and I'd have to readjust it like almost every morning. And I finally figured out that if I just wear my orange hoodie when I'm setting it up at night, that I don't have to do any adjusting in the morning. And then I also figured out that you can save the color, like I showed you with the little eyedropper at the bottom of the screen there. And that saved me some time too. But just be aware that if you change your clothes, it might change the way that your light is bouncing off of you and how your background is looking. So just be aware of that. And it will likely never be perfect. Like I said, I always have a problem with this little corner here behind my shoulder, just because of where my lights are and so forth. I always have like a little bit of green that's going on here. I also have like, I was teaching Peru unit this morning, and I was teaching about the flute, and I actually play the flute. So I leaned down to get my flute like this, and that happened. That'll happen if you move out of the camera. It's like, whoa, where'd she go? And then it doesn't know what it's supposed to do anymore. So if you get way far away from the camera, mine is it's good. I've got it set up really well right now. But if you move too far away or too close to the camera, sometimes that can mess it up too. Don't worry about those things. I have a student that calls me out every time. Every time I move out of the way, she's like, teacher, green. I see green. But don't worry about it too much. As long as your background looks good and your students are into it, you can just be like, yeah, good, your colors, good work, Okay, sorry, I'm talking too much. So I'm going to put these resources, I have to put this out of present mode so I can copy these for you. If you're not already in the CamTwist support group, you definitely should be. So let me put CamTwist support group. The Twisters group is right here. And this is my, the playlist for the CamTwist and Chromakey is right here. And this is Megan Locke's video on how to use hotkeys. That's a good one to watch too. And then this is I already put this one in here, but I'll put it again. This is the green screen background library. And Betsy says, does your background need to be very close to you, or can it be further away? That's a good question, Betsy. I don't know exactly, because I've only ever had my background. I can touch it from here. I can reach it. So I would say it's probably like 18 inches or so behind my chair here. But I have not tried to set it up with anything that's further away. I would assume that it would work, as long as, the only thing is, the further you get away, the bigger your background has to be. You know what I mean? Like if you're further away, then your camera is seeing more of the wall behind you. So you'll have to be able, as long as your video feed is filled with green behind you, you should be good, I think. But you'll have to play with it. All right, well, that is all I have for you guys. I got you out in about an hour. Anybody have any last minute questions? Anything that you want to know, or that you're worrying about, or that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this? You can totally do it. I promise you can do it. You're welcome. You're welcome. I like doing these sessions. They're fun for me. Um, okay, well, if you don't have any questions right now, I'm sure that they will come up when you go to try to set this up for yourself. Feel free to find me in the CamTwist support group or even in the Google Slides group. I'm there too. And or send me a message, comment on one of my YouTube videos. I get emails about those too. So and if it goes really well for you, take a picture or like a screenshot or a video or something of you doing it in class and post it in the group, because I like to see success stories. All right, everybody, I hope that you'll try it out. I hope that it goes really well for you, and good luck. Thank you so much for coming today, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.